This is the ECOVACS GOAT A2500 RTK. It's powered by LiDAR. Again, this is from ECOVACS. This is an AI lawn mowing robot. So we're going to jump into all the details, the unboxing, a few things that I want to share with you just right at the beginning. As far as your cutting height, you can go from 1.2 inches to 3.6 inches, depending on their height. That's electric adjustment. You can do that in the app as well, and it'll move up. It does have a dual blade system, so you're going to get great clean edges. It also is IPX6 waterproof. As far as the slope climbing and the engine, it'll go up to a 27% incline. It does have the AIVI 3D obstacle avoidance, so it'll avoid pets, animals, hoses, different things that are out on the lawn. And it also has intelligent path planning, so it'll go back and forth in the most economical way to save you battery. It will do a 5/8 of an acre in about 13 hours. That includes the charging time. It will do specifically, and I just have my notes here, I want to make sure that I tell you exactly what it will do here. So it will cut about 45 minutes. It will take in a single charge, it'll be 5,300 square feet on a single charge. It takes about 45 minutes to charge, so it'll go mow, come and charge, go back again if you have more than that square footage. You can also set up zones and different heights in different areas of your lawn depending on what you want to set up. We're going to walk through the app as well. So it looks like we are going to get a little bit of rain tonight, so I will actually post that in the morning. We'll get everything set up, but let's jump into the ECOVACS GOAT A2500 RTK and show you what comes in the box. So right out of the box, you're going to get a quick start guide, pre-start guide to make sure you get everything set up correctly. Make sure you connect the LiDAR. You're going to have part of a pole, right? This goes with the LiDAR to kind of get information to collect with the satellite. So there's these two pieces over here. This is your ground stake for that pole, so you can put this outside. This is part of the charging station. Here you'll notice that it comes with a plug here and the connector cord. We'll go through all of that. Underneath here, we are going to have the mower itself, or the robot itself. So I may just lift this up and turn this over, but I'll cut to it right in it. It's wrapped in kind of a nice felt. It's got wheels on the bottom. So and there's a handle. Make sure. So I'm gonna flip this around. More screws here for our power base. This is your LiDAR sensor here. And then underneath the bottom of everything, you've got your charging ramp. So the robot will come up here, charge itself. This will be plugged in obviously to a power source, also connected to the LiDAR system, which is going to give it kind of the satellite imagery. And then as we uncover the robot, and put everything here. So this is the robot. I'm actually going to pause and kind of give you a walk around of this. I want to make sure I want to keep all the pieces in case I need to put it back in the box, but I'll take the camera and now I'll walk through everything. Again, I am going to go through the install. This is just a clean unboxing of all of the different parts. So let me kind of give you a walk around of the robot. So here's kind of a first look. Here's a first look. We do have a dual blade disc on the bottom. Obviously, these are your wheels here. Coming around, we have an emergency stop button. There's some things that I have not even taken off yet. Then we've got our model number here. Obviously, don't put your hands under the motor. There is our kind of camera and eyes to the machine itself. You can see right there. We have power button, some other things here, plus minus. I'm assuming that'll be some gauges on some different heights and some of our cutting heights, different things like that. Obviously our branding right here with ECOVACS on the back. Let me pause here and I'm going to turn it upside down so you can see underneath. So here is the complete underneath look. Here's your dual blades here. Here's your front wheels. You can see that these are turned multiple different ways. And they also have a little bounce to them so they can kind of absorb some of that over rocks, different things. We have a protection here on the side. So we're going to walk through everything here. Again, this is your robot. Here's your stand. All of the other items that we're going to need here. So we're going to pause now, get everything set up, and I will then show you a little bit of demo in the yard itself. I'll walk you through the app. I'll give you some real-time constraints or time. We have about 1/3 of an acre, so we'll see how long it takes to mow that. It's not all grass. Obviously, we have, you can see just some areas of grass. We need to map everything out, different things like that. And then we have, obviously some pavers and other things like that, but there is grass on the other side over there. So let's jump into that. So here we have the charging port, and the nice thing about the charging port is this just snaps in. You can actually pull this off, snap it back in so you can move it around. There's these little ledges right here that you can see here. And then you just pull that out. You also have 2 cords coming out. One of these cords is going to go to the actual satellite, and then the other is going to go to the power cord. These cords are about 30 feet in length. So once you find a power source and you can plug it into the wall using an AC adapter or something like that, or an extension cord, you'll see here in a few minutes that I'm actually going to show you where I'm putting it, but it just snaps right into place, and the mower will actually drive back to the home base whenever you need it to. Then the satellite portion there is actually going to give a satellite of your lawn, and so as it's driving around the lawn, it'll give the edges, boundaries, different things like that. And this actually has more than just a snap lock. It actually has a thing that you twist. So I'll show you what that looks like when we get that set up. So this next portion is the satellite portion. So there's a stake that goes on the bottom. You can see it's got the 3 prongs, and you'll actually just screw 1 pole into that. There is a second pole that goes on top. The nice thing is you just stand on this and push it down into the ground. So the second pole just kind of snaps right into place like a tent pole or something like that. There's a little pin that you can push and pop in. So once you get it there, it's a little tiny slit. You want to make sure it's careful. And then on the top, this is where you're actually putting the RTK satellite, and there is a hole where you can drill these so it all just connects together. And so there's a little tiny bag. You'll see I'll grab it right here out of the box. That little screw goes in the top right there to make sure that if this falls over or if it's windy, this doesn't necessarily fall off. You're also going to get some pegs in this bag right here where you can actually screw in the home base, and then there are clips that you can actually clip the wire, which is going to connect to the home base. And you'll see right here, I'm going to put it all along the wire. The clips hold the wire in place so it doesn't move, so it doesn't get run over, anything like that. There are 4 of them. I think you could also use zip ties if you lost something like this. And without getting super close, you can see these just snap on and have room for the wire. And that's what it looks like right there. So just a point of information, one of the things that I recommend is giving yourself a little bit of time. You're basically going to connect to your Wi-Fi in your home. You'll put in a password, whatever you're going to do there. You're going to have both a firmware and a software update. So depending on the speed of your internet or whatever, it may take 3 to 5 minutes. It basically downloads through your phone. You connect the app, and then the robot, or the GOAT, which we're going to call it here, the GOAT will update and everything like that. So we've got the charging station, everything, ready to put together, but I'm going to update the firmware and the software and the app, everything first, and then we'll jump into basically the charging station, what that looks like. Then as we get going, I'll put in the app. So appreciate your patience. Okay, so we've got everything plugged in. You can see that it's charging here. I've got the power cord in the back. That blue light shows that it's actually charging. We also have it connected to the satellite. That is an LCD screen, so it is actually showing me that it's charging here, and it's in the home base. So right up at the top right here where I'm going to point my hands, you can see there's little tiny silver pieces or metal pieces that come out, and those actually connect to the home base or the charging station. Shows you that you're charging. You can see that you have the emergency stop button. I have one of these cables that's plugged into the AC, and then one that's actually plugged into the satellite. You can kind of see that they're here. This is not going to be the final spot. It won't be everything. I just wanted to get it charged before we started using it. You can see this box is basically a power surge protector, and then this cable is about 30 feet long. I still have it wrapped up. So let me show you the app, and we'll jump into that right now as we get set up with an account and get everything connected. So you'll see here the blades are about 20 inches apart. We're going back and forth, and it has a nice little kind of tank wheelbase here, so it'll measure out, and it actually is going to go over the other line. So we get a little bit of overlap, so you don't have any of those little kind of mohawk pieces that get missed. And it's going to come all the way to basically the edge here and go back and forth. Now I can adjust the height of the cut, and this is something that I can set and forget it. The nice thing is I showed you in the app, it basically should show you how much time it's going to take, so you can kind of figure out, okay, this section's going to take me 20 minutes. I can come out. If you need to move the ECOVAC, right, the GOAT True Edge, if you need to move that, that's something that you would maybe want to set an alarm on your phone, different things like that. But I am not mowing right now. We're getting a double blade cut. It's got the True Edge, which is nice. When it was mapping over here against the curb, it would just run right up against it, bounce off. And this allows me to do this. I don't have to do this. I can go do other things, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little bit of weeding while this is going. And back in the app, it'll actually show me how much time it's going to take, how many square footage, what percentage I am done. And we showed you that before. So I'll give you my final reviews after we get the whole lawn mowed and get everything done and go from there. Okay, so this is the part that I was talking through. It's going to walk you through how to set up the station and where to put it, enough for spacing, different things like that. Obviously, you don't want to put it in where the satellite's going to lose connection, so it won't have anything. Obviously, you want about 74 inches, about 6 feet, all different sides of the charging station. There's the clamps that you want to, kind of snip the grass around it. If you have something, a platform or something. Right now, I just have it on our patio, and I'll find a final resting spot for it when we finally get everything figured out. So you kind of go through over here. It's charging currently. I have the satellite LiDAR and everything connected. And so you can see the blue light, which I already showed you in the video. So next, we basically go through the reference station, how to plug everything in. I've walked through that. This is the beautiful thing about this, right, is it walks you through all of the steps. I mentioned there's that little lock mechanism here that connects to the satellite. You can see there, the blue light is on. It's going to pick up that information. Again, you don't want that blocked anywhere. And they have theirs out in the middle of the grass. So the one that I have is on, and the blue light is on, so it's picking up data. And then we're going to go to prepare the robot. So the robot's still charging, and again, we're in the app. And so this is the initial kind of setup. So I'm walking you through this so you can be familiar with everything that you'll see here. so you can hear the robot talking. I may have the satellite too close to my house. I'm going to keep it here for just a couple of minutes, and I may fast forward through this part. I don't necessarily want it out in the middle of the grass, and you want it close to something where you can have power. So the cord looks like it's about 30 feet. Eventually, when I get this all set up, I'm going to have this tucked away somewhere. I don't want the wires running through the middle of the grass or anything like that. So I'm actually going to move the satellite and put it somewhere else, a little bit further, maybe in the middle of the grass, just for the demo, so you can see this. Okay, so here is basically your homepage on your app, right? So we've named this the GOAT. You can see that it is online. It's got an 80% per 6 battery. We can do it in Bluetooth mode or standard mode. In Bluetooth mode, it means you're basically just connecting to the robot via Bluetooth. You're going to have to be within a certain distance for that Bluetooth to work. Most likely, probably not inside or outside. When we go into standard mode, this is actually going to work through the internet. So you're connected to your home internet or your Wi-Fi or whatever you have in your house. You can do auto mode. You can also do a scheduling mode. Auto mode is it's going to basically go find the map of your lawn and go that route. So going back to the home page, again, you have a store where you can get different accessories, different things like that, new blades, different things like that. You can discover things. People are sharing different things that they've learned about the robot, and they have other tools there. And then you can go into your specific account here. When we go back to our robot, I think this is where we're going to spend the most time. So you can see that you have messages, alerts, different things like that come in there. When we go into standard mode, and this is the mode that I am probably going to use more, the most regular, is you can see right up here, when we have a pin code, you'll set the pin code up. We talked about that at the install. I can actually start video on my So that is the manual mode, which is really, really cool. The camera mode. Again, we can go to our maps. You can name our zones, so we can have different paths. We can have no entry zones. We haven't spent a lot of time setting all these up because we don't know where we want to put the final GOAT robot. And so when we go to areas, you can see this is zone 1. I can divide different areas. I can add another area if I want to. I can remap something if I wanted to. And then when I remove or change my power station, this is something that I would actually want to do. So the current zone that we have now is zone 1. If I were to go over to zone 2, which you saw last night when I was actually putting it together, I could just move that over to zone 2. I would have to come over and lift it. The way that our yard is set up is you have to go up a couple stairs in order to get over to that other area. Every home is a little bit different, so you can kind of do what suits your needs, but you have all of those options in here. If I was going to map,
So I am going to map. And we're just going to do auto mapping. And again, you'll see as I'm going into auto map mode, the robot itself, right? The ECOVAC robot will start to map itself. And you can see I'm actually doing this manual mode. I can recreate this. We go back in here. And then you see this button right here where it says station. I can click on station, and then the robot or the goat will return to the station. Now it's saying it's out of bounds because when I mapped it originally, I didn't let it do the full mapping because I wanted to make sure that we could get this video. So here it is, we're returning to the station. It's looking for the station. You can see I've put the station right over here next to our generator. I want to make sure I get some power to it. So it's basically just lining itself up, and then this will return back to the station and charge and basically go back out again and mode depending on your battery. So let's jump into the app. I'm going to show you some of those settings, different things like that. So when I was talking earlier about the charge, you can see those two metal pieces right here and right here. Those are actually going to connect right into the charging station. So, and again, I have not put the base in the ground. There's some pegs that you can kind of nail into the ground and screw this in so the station stays in its home spot. But this will basically just go right into the station and redo the charging. So as far as the mapping takes a little bit. If you've ever used any sort of robot, it has to go kind of around the yard and kind of see where all the corners and the edges are, stuff like that. It took me about 20 minutes to get everything set up. So to connect, once you connect the RTK, which is the satellite, and the robot, you're going to have to update both of them. Not a huge time thing. I think everything comes and you have to update it. But I did want to show you the app and spend a little bit of time on the app and what you can do with the app, different things like that. So let's jump in there now. Okay, so here we are in kind of mapping mode. So it's going around grabbing things, grabbing all the images, different things like that. You can still have a little bit of piece of plastic right here around this front part. And the blades are going, right? Once it gets all the way to the edge, it'll back up and stuff like that. I've actually moved the power station off of the grass. I think once we find a final resting spot for it, we'll be able to kind of get it set up where we do a regular base. We have a pretty square yard other than this little section back here. You can see that it's kind of got these round edges. So it's just doing a little bit of mapping right now and mowing and going back and forth, and I'm not doing anything. Obviously, I've got it on kind of a lower blade. It's funny because you can hear my neighbor mowing his lawn. Nice, beautiful Saturday morning. Need to get some of these weeds out of the way. We would also, have one of our kids go pick up dog poo or something like that. So let me jump into the app and show you what it looks like on the app. Okay, so some final thoughts about the ECOVACS A2500 GOAT. Setup is really easy. I think the thing that took the longest time, if you're talking about time, was just the updates for the satellite stand and the actual robot itself. So when it comes in, you'll just want to make sure that you have time to set that up. As far as the mowing itself, it was amazing. I was basically able to duplicate myself and have the lawnmower mow. I was able to go around an edge. I was able to weed. I was able to do some other things. The thing that I really liked about it is when it got to a certain percent. So when I got to 15% on the mower, it came back to the station. I think I showed this earlier. I had to open the gate, but it came back to the station, set itself up to charge. It's now currently charging. When it gets to 85%, it'll go back out and finish that job. This small portion that I showed you earlier in the video took about 20 to 25% of the battery. So I think on a full charge, it would have done that large area in the front. I like that you can set up different zones. I like that you can do a schedule. And so Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, I can just have it go. I can have it go at Tuesday night. I could have it go whenever, and it'll just launch straight from the base station and go out and mow. And then when it's done, it just goes back to the station. So the other thing I would think about too, depending on, you know, what your house setup is and how everything is where you're going to put the basically charging station and the satellite, and your cables and everything plugged in. So when we originally showed you the setup here, we just kind of placed it on this side of our house. This probably won't be the long-term place. We're still trying to figure out what that's going to look like. We want to have it near a power source, but also so the satellite will connect to everything. As far as the mowing, it will give you, and you can see it back here, it'll basically give you double lines. You can change everything in the app. You can change when it mows, how it mows, the heights. I showed you all of that. So overall, for me personally, this is an absolutely fantastic investment, and it will save you time, right? So you can basically double yourself every time you're mowing your lawn, or just set it out. You also have the manual mode where you can go and mow little patches if they need to be remowed, or maybe it's not a small enough area that you're like, oh, you know, I'm just going to go out and just use a hand mower or whatever. But absolutely fantastic tool. It comes with automatic upgrades, all of the things that you saw in the box. You can check all of the things in the listing when you go to shop. Again, this is the ECOVACS A2500 GOAT.